at Over the Hill Home Decor. I was going to take you guys on a DIY adventure with me today. We have four projects that we're going to be doing. So these are projects that I have hauled from the thrift store and are flipping to resell on one of our Over the Hill Home Decor Facebook live sales. At the end of the video, I will tell you all about that. So just stay tuned and we'll get started. I hope you guys enjoy. So here are the items, the treasures that we are going to flip today. So we have this metal basket that hangs up on the wall, so we're going to restore that. And then I have this wicker basket that also hangs up on the wall, so we're going to update that as well. And then we have this apple wicker basket that we're going to do a antique wash to and just update that. And then this lovely frame, we are going to I'm going to take you along the DIY of changing this into not a picture frame but a centerpiece for the table. So stay tuned and we'll get right into it. Okay, so we're first going to start with the picture frame. So we're going to use some of this Dollar Tree permanent paper liner and Waverly white, the ivory color, and a paintbrush and a screwdriver. So you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. So we're just going to flip this over and take the back off first. We're going to take that off. So unscrew all of the screws on the back to take the back off, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now that we have all of the screws out, we're going to go ahead and take the backing off, which is your picture. We're going to set that aside and take the glass out, which needs cleaned, and we'll also set that aside, and we're going to start with the frame. So first, we're going to go ahead and paint over the frame, but also making sure that you get it nice and clean before you paint. Just make sure there's no residue or anything that the paint will not stick to. And just make sure it's really nice and clean, so that way you have a really nice finish. So once you have that cleaned, go ahead and place it down and wipe it one more time. Place it down on your counter or your table. Make sure you shake up the Waverly ivory paint nice and good. This one's a brand new bottle, so I need to take off the top. And then also, so you're going to use the paint and a paintbrush to get into every little groove of all the crevices in the frame. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take the paintbrush and we're just going to apply this ivory white chalk paint to the frame. So this first coat, you're just going to want to get the paint on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to take more coats, but this will give the paint something to bond to. So just go ahead and paint the frame, the entire frame, with this first coat, making sure that you get it into all of the crevices, all of the details, and then to make sure that we get the fullest coverage possible. So just go ahead and finish that, painting the whole frame, and then we will go on to the next steps. Okay, so now that we have our first coat of Waverly ivory paint on our frame, we're going to go ahead and set the paint aside, and we are also going to set the frame aside as well. So just place it somewhere where it can be out of the way, and let it dry while we do the next process. Okay, so once your area is nice and clean, you can go ahead and bring your picture that was in the picture frame back on the table, and we're going to take the permanent parchment paper from the Dollar Tree. I will put links to everything below, and we're just going to unwrap that and we're going to unroll it, and we are going to place the picture on the paper to see how much we actually need to cut. So we're going to place the picture side down. I'm actually going to move this out of the way so that way I don't get any paint on it. Even though I cleaned it, it's just best to move it out of the way just to be sure. So we'll move that out of the way, and then we'll re-stretch this out, and we'll place the picture frame, the picture on the paper. So that way I know how much to cut. So we're going to place it with the picture side down, because that's the side that we are covering with this paper. And then what we're going to do is I am going to start peeling off this side, the one end. And then once that's peeled back, it's kind of a little bit of a bugger to get away from to separate each other. But once you get that separated, we're going to go ahead and pull this back. Okay, so now that I have it separated, we're just going to pull the backing away from the picture portion of the paper. So pull the backing all the way off, trying your best not to crinkle it. It is kind of hard to do, but once you get it started, it goes a lot easier, a lot smoother. So make sure that you place the photo portion of the picture down on the paper. Okay, and then now you can firmly push it down, making sure that it's completely covered and on there as good as possible. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to peel back just a little bit more just to give yourself that extra room, and then we're just going to cut it off with a pair of scissors. Cut off the remaining with a pair of scissors. So you're just going to cut the remaining portion off and set it aside. And it goes pretty smooth, but it is, sticky paper on one side, so the scissors do get caught up every once in a while. So just go ahead and set the extra portion aside. You can use it for other projects down the road. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to take our X-Acto knife, and we are going to cut around the portion of the paper. Just make sure that you have it nice and firmly on there. So once you have your X-Acto knife, just go around the edge of your picture and just following the edge as closely as you can without cutting the picture itself. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you that straight, it's going to give you an edge to follow. So follow this all the way around, and then once it's done, then you'll be able to pull the remaining away from the picture. Okay, so once you have pulled away the remaining of the parchment paper or the sticky paper, you'll go ahead and push down firmly one more time, and then you can flip it over and see the outcome and what it's going to look like. So that is your new picture that will go in the frame. So go ahead and just make sure that there's no bubbles, make sure it's all flat, and then you can go ahead and set that aside. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do is we're going to clean the glass. And what we're going to use is this window glass cleaner and paper towels. We're just going to clean it just like you would any other kind of glass or mirror. Just spraying it down, wiping it down, and cleaning it, making sure that there's no smudges or anything on the glass. So just go ahead and repeat that to both sides, and then we'll move on to the next steps. Okay, now that the glass is clean, we're going to go back to the frame, and we're going to put 1 to 2 more coats on our frame, making sure that we get into all the crevices. And on this portion of it, you'll start to notice that you are getting a lot more coverage than the first coat. So the first coat is just to get the paint on there, and then the second and third is your finished coats. So you're going to want to do the same process, just cover the whole frame, making sure that you're covering every little detail of it, and then we'll come back to the next steps as soon as that is finished. Okay, so once the third coat is completely dry, now what we're going to do is we are going to distress it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your frame and you're just going to use either a wet rag, and you're just going to wipe on the areas of where the frame comes up or there's detail on the frame to give it that distressed look. So just continue wiping around till you get the distressed desired look that you're looking for, and then we can go on to the next steps. Okay, so once you have your frame to your desired distressed liking, as you can see here, the gold is showing through on this frame here because it was a gold undertone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip the frame over and we're going to go ahead and put it back together. So starting with the piece of glass first, make sure your hands are nice and clean. So grab the glass first and we're going to place that in there like so. In the frame, just place it in there nice and neat. Try not to put any finger smudges on there. This one was a little bit difficult just because it had to line up perfectly or else it wouldn't fit. So once you get that in there, then we'll be ready to place the picture in there. So once that's in there, so go ahead and grab your picture and place the picture in there, and then what we're going to do is also replace the screws back. Put the screws back in the backing. Okay, so once you have the screws all in the back of the frame, go ahead and turn it over and see your finished product. And I believe it's turned out just beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to go into our next project, this apple wicker basket, and it's all wood. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the antique Waverly antique wax mixed with water, and we're just going to paint this on there and covering every little bit of this basket just to give it kind of an updated color, a change, make it look more antique and old. So just go ahead and brush this on there as good as you can get. It is going to make a mess, so just be prepared for that. Make sure you have the proper material down to soak up the mess. So just go ahead and cover that, and then we'll get on to the next steps. once you have finished the outside completely, then you're going to move into the inside. So go ahead and turn your basket to whatever which way it will work for you, and you're going to completely paint the inside as well, using the same antique, Waverly antique wax mixed with water. So just go ahead and do that, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so once you're finished with the inside, this is what your basket's gonna look like when it's all finished and done. So it just gives it that more updated, outdated, antique wash look. Okay, our next project is this tin hanging basket that just hangs up on the wall if you'd like it, or hang by a coat rack or anything like that. We're going to use the Waverly ivory chalk paint and a paintbrush, and we're just going to paint this on, like I said before, the first coat you're just going to want to get it on there and let it dry. Okay, so once the front is completely dry, then we're going to go ahead and turn it over, and we're going to do the back as well using the same Waverly ivory chalk paint. So just continue the same steps as you did on the front, and then we'll come back to the next steps after covering this. Okay, so once the back and the sides have dried, we're going to turn it back over, and we're going to repeat the steps 2 more times. It took about 3 coats to get full coverage on this. So using the same Waverly ivory chalk paint, just repeat steps 1 and 2 again, making sure that you're getting all the full coverage you possibly can. And then we'll come back to the distressing after this. So like I said, it took 3 coats to have full coverage on this piece. Okay, so once your 3 coats have fully dried, we're going to go ahead and take this sand block here. I believe it's a 120 sand grit paper block, and we're just going to brush it over the details just to give it that distressed old wear look on it. Just very lightly distress it. It doesn't take very much to take off the paint on this piece. So just, like I said, very lightly distress it however much you would like. And then what we'll do from there, I just kind of went over the sides and the back just a little bit just to bring that distress along over the whole piece. So just make sure you get every little bit that you would like to be distressed. And then we're going to set that aside, and I'm just going to take this wet rag and just kind of wipe it down and get rid of all of the excess dust from the sanding it. And it also helps kind of even everything out and just give it that nice finished look. So just wipe the piece down. Make sure it's all nice and clean. No more sand residue marks from it. And then you'll have your finished piece. Okay, so our next piece that we're going to work on is this small wickery basket, hanging basket. So what we're going to do on this is actually pretty easy. So we're going to take this Waverly ivory chalk paint again, and we're going to do what's called a dry brush technique, where you just barely dip the paint in there and you just brush it across until you run out of paint, just to give it that dimension, that extra dimension where it gets in some of the crevices but not all of them. And we're going to do this all over the entire basket, and it just gives it kind of an update look, but it also keeps the dimension of the darker wood behind to give it that effect, to give it that dramatic effect. So just go ahead and cover this whole basket using this technique, and then we will see the finished product. Thank you so much for watching the DIY video today. I hope you enjoyed the projects just as much as I did. Please leave a comment on how I can improve the videos today. And also please subscribe and like our channel, so that way you'll get notifications if this is something that you would like to get more notifications to watch. So if this is something that you like, please join us every week for our new videos, and leave a comment below. And also join us on Facebook at Over the Hill Home Decor. You won't want to miss it. We do have live sales every month. Thank you guys again, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.